Okay na ito guys, since there's no way to talk about the Philippines unless we talk about the international environment, because we have a president who appreciates his engagement with the rest of the world. So ang Pilipinas, obvious may problema tayo sa corruption, regularity, red tape, but we are a frontline state. We're a very important state. We're the fastest growing economy in Southeast Asia. And I felt now with Europeans, there's a lot of sympathy for us. Yes, you have a Marcos again there, but at least there's an idea that the Philippines as a nation is fighting back. It's making up time for the time lost under Duterte. I just felt, Ronald, the respect na, kasi parang, alam mo rin yan, paano ni Aquino rin, di ba? Hindi tayo sineryosa as much as we should have been taken seriously nun eh. Parang taken for granted ang Pilipinas nun. But now, and obviously it's not because of Marcos, it's because there's a belated realization na itong Philippines, we shouldn't forget them. And you know, my conference actually in Germany was about Global South. So India, Brazil, South Africa, Indonesia, and then ako yung kinuha nila from Philippines. So actually, konti lang kami from East Asia. Dalawa lang yata kami. Dalawa or tatlo. And for me, I feel good na they consider us as one of the rising middle powers or rising forces in Global South. And at the same time, I told them, here in the Philippines, we feel more Western than ASEAN and all. But you know, so what I'm saying, Ronald, is nasa sweet spot na tayo eh. Eto na, we're in this moment. So as much as we make fun of BBM's travel and all of that, which sometimes is really, lalo yung mga Formula 1, malapit na mag-Taylor Swift yan, I see the value of him engaging the rest of the world because I think the rest of the world wants to do things that they were not able to do nung panahon ng Duterte. Ikaw, anong basa mo dito?
Mahalaga yung sinasabi mo na yung meeting mo na yan, na sweet spot tayo at pinapansin na tayo ngayon. Dahil nung June 2022, nung pumunta ako sa Germany, na-meet ko yung head ng ruling party, si Saskia Esken, at,
Right.
at co-chairman niya si Scholz, yung chancellor. No? At nagsalita ako sa German parliament, no? Sa Bundestag. Nandun yung lahat ng political parties, no? From the left to the right, yung AfD. First time ko na-meet yung AfD na ngayon ay lumalakas sa Germany, no? Yung mga kung ano yan. No? So, bago ako nagsimula magsalita, parang kung sila restless sila, parang dumalo lang sila to comply dun sa imbitasyon. Siguro sinabihan sila ng kanilang mga party leaders, ng kanilang institute, o makinig kayo rito, etc. etc. Pero hindi sila, wala yung kanilang attention dun sa topic ko, which is the South China Sea. Until I pounced upon a tactical opportunity to get their attention. No? Sinimulan ko yung aking speech by saying that the South China Sea is the next Ukraine. O yun, lahat nakikinig. No? Of course, it's not accurate. Of course, it's not precise. Pero you got their attention. No? Ibig sabihin, kinakailangan ko palang ganung gimmick para makuha ang kanilang attention. Dahil nga, malayong-malayo sa kanila yung mundo natin.
Yeah.
Kaya 2 years after, sabi mo nga, we're now in a sweet spot. No? Ngayon, yung mga friends ko sa Germany, no, nagpapadala sa akin ng mga clippings galing sa Der Spiegel dahil nasa headline yung atin ito Christmas convoy sa Ayungin. Ibig sabihin lumalabas tayo, no? All over the world, no?
Sorry, akala ko andyan yung mga pictures ni BBM with his Rolls Royce. Sorry. Yeah,
na
exactly.
dati hindi pinapansin. Ngayon, everybody knows about the West Philippine Sea. They're using the term West Philippine Sea, hindi lang South China Sea, no? Everybody knows atin ito na isang ragtag group ng mga civil society na nagsama-sama last October at bumiyahe last December at ngayon balak na namang bumiyahe sa Scarborough. So, parang in a few months, biglang nagmamarka na tayo. Not just because of the trips of BBM. Kung hindi, ay people are noticing itong part na ito ng ating mundo. Kaya magandang segue ito sa ating usapan ngayon dito sa episode na ito.
This is where medyo ninervous ako kasi may kasama ako from another ASEAN country. Actually, kaibigan ko to, and you know, who knows, he may end up as the next foreign minister of this country. And we had a lot of conversation about things. Parang ang position nila ang layo sa atin sa Pilipinas, no? Which is generally stable ang situation sa South China Sea. China is a huge source of trade and investment, which in their case is kind of realistic, right? And in fairness, mabait ito, kaibigan to. So parang ang stance nila is, naintindihan namin ang Pilipinas, ganitong situation nila. Pero parang unique daw yung situation natin and because we have US ally. Now, having said that, ako naman, ang worry ko dito is baka mag-overcompensate tayo dun sa mga kakulangan ni Digong. In a sense that, okay, maganda naman mag-stand up sa China, mag-assert ng ating sovereign rights. And ang kagandahan ng mga Aleman at saka mga Europeans that have dealt with, the British, the French, is they also understand we middle powers or emerging middle powers have to cooperate more. Ang concern ko dito, Ronald, correct me if I'm wrong, is I mean, there will be balikatan exercises in Batanes, huge movements happening across the north of the Philippines.
Sa Ilocos.
Yeah, and I'm hearing the
Talawag.
Americans may put some very high-level weapon systems there. I was just talking kanina to someone who's very, very informed this morning. Kahit jet lag ako, sabi ko, I need to do this. Now, I understand the explanation. The explanation is it's just a matter of time before China wants to do something crazy. So we have to go strong against it by bringing in as much help and all. Ang worry ko lang dito, Ronald, and probably this is the progressive in me, after all, right, is baka naman we swing too hard in the right other direction and this will trap us or at least limit our options because I still want the Philippines to fight for Philippines' national interest and not be overly tethered to the strategic calculus of another country who may soon have a Donald Trump in charge. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, it's more than 15% chance na manalo si Trump next year. So do you want to be militarily tethered to that kind of quality, right?
Yeah. Well, meron kang tatlong polls ngayon, no? Yung isang poll, ito yung gawin nating parang parang isang noodle soup. Yung tatlong magkakaibang issue, ipaghalo-halo natin. Una, yung usapin ng West Philippine Sea. No, yung ating victory sa UNCLOS, yung pagbubuo ng artificial island sa ating EEZ, no? At yung plano na paalisin tayo totally doon sa Ayungin, Sierra Madre, sa BRP Sierra Madre, sa Scarborough, Bajo de Masinloc, Recto, Mischief Bank, totally tanggalin tayo diyan. At talagang lagyan nila ng wall ng artificial islands, no? Yan yung ating issue na kinukuha ngayon. Yung isang issue naman ay yung freedom of navigation, no, sa high seas, na sabi nga ni BBM do sa trip niya sa Germany, 60% of global trade passes through here. Hindi naman totoo 'yon. Siguro mga 40 or to 50 at most, no, ng global trade. Pero enough para for the
Ronald,
whole
baka may
world
ibang trade na hindi natin alam, may
to take
underground.
notice. Enough for the whole world to take notice and to care, no? At ikatlo yung Taiwan, no? As far as I know, we still recognize the one China policy. Ang nagbago ay yung strategic ambiguity ni Kissinger ng Americans ay hindi na ambiguous. They will defend Taiwan militarily. Kahit one China policy pa rin yung kanilang recognition diyan, no? So ito naghahalo-halo, no? As far as we're concerned, dapat hindi maghalo, no? Pinayagan natin yung halimbawa yung EDCA, no, para sa usapin ng West Philippine Sea. To some extent, freedom of navigation. Pero primarily, West Philippine Sea. Dahil sobrang dehado tayo naman, no? Sobrang dehado tayo vis-a-vis the biggest navy in the world and the second most powerful superpower in the world, no? Yan yung natin. Pero ayaw din nating maging dependent sa kanila, no? Ang kinukuha natin in a worst case scenario, no? Halimbawa, durugin yung Sierra Madre. Halimbawa, ay talagang totally maglagay ng wall of artificial island sa ating EEZ or even sa border ng ating sovereign territory, no? Ay mahalaga na merong mga bansa na willing tumulong sa atin, no? Not necessarily to go to war for us, pero at least magbigay ng pressure dito sa second most powerful superpower na nagiging aggressor natin, no? So yun yung natin. Pero ibang usapin yung Taiwan, no? The last time I looked, malinaw sa ating constitution na we denounce war as an instrument of foreign policy, no? Kaya halimbawa kung may maglalanding sa halimbawa merong dumating sa Batanes last month, at ina-explore na magbuo ng kampo yan, kahit wala yan sa EDCA, dapat naman tutulan natin dyan. Dahil clearly, yan ay for the Taiwan issue. At para yan ay mangyari, kailangan niyang pagdebatihan, no? Kailangan niyang pagtalunan, at kailangan niyang pagpasyahan ng both houses of Congress. Hindi yan pwedeng gawin unilaterally ng defense establishment, ng security establishment. Hindi yan pwedeng desisyonan simply by the president. No, mahabang proseso yan. No? Siyempre, may nako-complicate yan because we have almost 200,000 OFW sa Taiwan. No? Ibang usapin pa yun. No? Pero hindi pwedeng paghaluin yan like a noodle soup, no? Na lahat yan ay magkakadikit. Kailangan meron din silang separation. No? Yun yung
In a compartmentalized approach.
yes, dahil ngayon kasi pinaghahalo-halo na eh. Pinaghahalo-halo na. Before we know it, no, we may be sleepwalking into a war we never decided on or where we never discussed even, no? Yun yung problema, no? Kung pupunta tayo sa ganyang klaseng fundamental na issue ng foreign policy, at the very least, kailangan ma-process natin as a nation. Nasa ngayon, definitely hindi.
Yeah, my whole of nation approach, not to mention, I mean, it's one thing for the president to make the right decision in peacetime, but is this the kind of president who can step up to the plate if things go a little bit, you know, crazy, right? And that's the other thing. Does Marcos Jr. have the temperament if talagang lumaban ng China? Or, I mean, it doesn't have to even be a war, but it could be some major sabotage activity, right? Infrastructure attack, cyber attack. You know, China can respond in many ways. Is this is this president ready for that, or is he gonna rely on Americans to fight back against all of these things? Yun ang sinasabi ko eh. There's nothing wrong with being right, but if you're gonna go down the heroic journey, make sure you can be heroic when the challenge comes, di ba?
Tulad ngayon, yung parating na balikatan will be in Ilocos. No? Nandoon. Ibig sabihin, talagang hindi yan usapin lang ng West Philippine Sea. At the very least, pag-usapan natin, pagdebatihan natin. No? Nabasa ko na lang sa news eh. No, yung next balikatan with France, no? With France and the US ay nasa Ilocos, no? Hindi ko alam kung bahagi ng West Philippine Sea yung pupuntahan, no? Doon, no? Paano kung hindi? Oh, definitely Taiwan 'yan, no? Definitely Taiwan 'yan, no? Tapos ang alam ko, mayroon ng mga pumunta sa Batanes, no? Several weeks ago. For what? No? It's not even walang EDCA diyan, no? So, what is that for, no? Well, nakita natin a month ago, yung tatlong Chinese research vessel na nandun sa ating eastern seaboard, no? Zigzagging. Hindi yan innocent passage, no? Clearly minamap nila yung ating eastern seaboard not only for natural resources but probably for war, for military purposes, no? Kaya ayoko na bigla na lang magising tayo na nasa gera na tayo, di ba? No? Na
But Ronald, again, it doesn't have to be a war, right? It could be a situation whereby dahil mainis ang China, dahil hindi niya masuguran ng Taiwan, dahil ang ipit na yung situation, ang gagawin nila, titirahin nila yung Pilipinas just to show their tantrum. Di ba? Kasi tayo think eh.
Alam naman natin, wars happen most of the time because of accidents. Di ba? Because of accidents.
Or short of war, right? China is a master of gray zone. So they could still hurt us in many ways, diba? Short of a war situation. Yun ang sinasabi ko eh. Because if you look at the upcoming summit of BBM, Kishida, and Biden in White House, a lot of that is going to be about Taiwan. Obviously, it's not just South China Sea. Now, I understand that there has to be preparation because bakit ang mga Chinese nandun din sa Philippine Sea, sa Aurora and all? Because yun ang dadaanan ng mga Amerikano if ever mag-intervene sila. So, Chinese want to essentially close down the highway, right?
Papatuloy lang ako, Big R, no? Yan yung isang pole. Yung isang pole naman, no, ay totally, wag tayong sumama diyan. Totally magsara tayo, no? Totally wag nating i-provoke yung China, no? Which is naman very pro-China. 'Di ba? Very pro-China naman. Parang mag-demilitarize tayo kahit wala tayong i-demilitarize dahil wala naman tayong militarized, no?
At wala kang leverage. Wala kang leverage.
So talagang iniiwan mong vulnerable yung ating mga frontliners. ating Coast Guard, yung ating fishermen, no? Etc. At halos binibigay mo na sa China yung buong West Philippine Sea, which is bigger than our landmass, which is perhaps richer than our entire landmass. So masyado namang cap out yan, no? Naniwala ka man lang banat or criticism sa China. Nakita ko yung mga statements nung ilan nating mga kaibigan, no?
Yeah, I mean, the old
Wala man
traditional
lang
left,
one
unfortunately.
sentence criticizing yung aggression ng China. Wala man lang one sentence, no? Criticizing yung pag-build nila ng artificial islands within our EEZ. No? Yan naman yung isang poll.
Or
So,
pro forma lang. If they mention it,
oh,
it's just to say lang may sinabi
yeah,
sila. But
yeah. So
clearly,
kailangan meron naman tayong third pole, no? Na hindi naman magfo-fold simply diyan sa dalawang pole na 'yan, no? Na yes, kailangan natin ng tulong ng mundo, but we have to rely first and foremost sa ating sariling strength. Hindi pa nga natin na-organize ang ating mamamayan eh. Hindi pa nga natin na-organize yung ating civil society. Doon muna tayo mag-focus, no? At yun nga yung purpose sana nitong civilian convoy, the first of its kind. Para sabihin na hindi naman necessarily na armed tayo para i-claim natin na itong West Philippine Sea ay atin. Hindi naman kinakailangan tayo maging armed para protektahan yung ating fishermen at yung ating civilian coast guard at suportahan sila. Hindi naman natin kinakailangan maging pro-US, no? Para gawin ito, no? Yun naman ang sinasabi natin. Kaya kailangan pang palakasin yung ganitong klaseng pole, no? Hindi lamang para maging fulcrum dito sa mga antagonistic poles na sinusubukang to get at each other's neck. Kung hindi, para makita na most Filipinos nandito are peace-loving, pero at the same time, hindi duwag. No? Critical sa China, no?
pero
Pero
itututa ng Amerika.
pero hindi naman nag-uudyok ng gera, 'di ba? Nationalistic but peaceful. So kailangan mas strengthen yung ganitong klaseng pole para hindi lang tayo mahulog do sa dalawang pole, no? Yun lang naman sinasabi ko
Yeah.
na
No,
pwedeng palakasan.
no, thank you very much, Ron. I think we have covered a lot. So exactly on time natin tinatapos ito. I'm just glad that we look at all of these angles kasi yun nga, ang tendency ng tao is to think of things binary. O saan tayo tataya? But there's always a better way. As Buddha said, there's always the middle path, right? Or third way. So that was always my guiding principle. And
Sound of one hand clapping.
exactly. So my point is we always have this tendency of wild swings, between some extremes and that always kasi ang isang fear ko, Ronald, is dahil concern ng mga ibang grupo is baka makabalik ang mga Duterte's 2028 or whatever, i-forward deploy na nila lahat ngayon kay BBM. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, hindi tayo sigurado kung tatagal ito, like, use it or use it or lose it, right? Parang andiyan na si BBM, lagay na natin lahat ng ilagay natin doon para kahit manalo si Sara, hindi niya matanggal lahat yan. Do you get what I'm saying? So ang fear ko dito is baka mag-over forward deploy itong mga Western allies and partners. And to be honest, I'm not sure if BBM is the best guy to make sure, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's my fear na to ensure against a potential return of a pro-China faction in Philippine politics, they will go like 100/10, right? Instead of steady, slow, careful, calibrated, diba? Yun yung concern ko.
Kaya Big R, dapat yung foreign policy natin mas diversified no? Dahil lahat naman ito may kanya-kanyang national agenda. Kahit kasama sa Quad ang India, may ibang agenda yan, no? Hindi yan automatically susunod sa US. Kahit nag-scale up yung relasyon ng US at saka Vietnam, yung Vietnam ay hindi yan papailalim sa kahit anong superpower, no? Very independent yan. Ganun din ang Indonesia. So, kailangan yung ating foreign policy ay hindi lamang monopoly ng isa. Kailangan talaga very diversified. At kailangan natin ng mga bagong diplomats na naunawaan ito. Sabi mo nga, hindi lang binary. Dahil karamihan sa ating mga diplomats, ang training pa rin, na-train sila sa isang binary world. No? So ganun, no?
Yeah.
At diyan sana mag-scale up ang civil society. Dahil hindi tayo kaagad may impluwensyahan ng dalawang poles. no? Yung ating history, yung ating tradition, yung ating culture, at to a great extent, even our ideology, ay make us less vulnerable dyan sa kanyang klaseng binary poles.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, although I would disagree with the example of Vietnam, India, and Indonesia, because none of them have alliance with the US, right? So I'd rather
Yeah,
look at the
yeah.
example of South Korea or Germany, who are US treaty allies or US allies, but they can say no. They're allies who can say no. I mean, we saw that during Trump, diba? Merkel really, no, we're not gonna follow you, Trump. Inis na inis si Trump sa kanila dahil doon. So I think, of course, we're not at that level in terms of capacity, but that should be the target. We should be allies, but allies who can say no. Kaya nga sabi ko, everyone talks about the risking from China. I said we should also de-risk from Trump if ever it
Yeah.
comes back. So
Yeah.
I appreciate actually you
What
forward.
I mean,
Yeah.
Big R, ay itong mga bansang ito ay mas i-strengthen natin yung relasyon natin sa kanila. Yun yung ibig ko sabihin,
Yung South
no?
Korean,
Oo,
even
oo.
India, Indonesia,
Paano
of
yung
course, yeah, yeah.
Japan, South Korea, matagal na relasyon natin sa kanila because of the
Oo.
US.
Pero
Ito mga bago no?
India, ganun,
Oo, India, Vietnam, no? To some
or
extent,
Turkey, di ba? Turkey is a
yeah,
US
or
ally,
to
but
some extent Europe. Dahil ang
yeah,
Europe naman kasi
exactly.
hindi ganun ka-active dito sa South China Sea since forever. No, ngayon lang sila uli pumupunta dito. So yun yung sinasabi ko na dapat nating strengthen. Maliban pa dun sa mga kasama na sa ambit ng US.
Right. Salamat, Sir Ronald. Mukhang hindi lang pusong kailangan talaga. But, pasensya na sa sobrang daldal natin. But tingnan mo, kay jet lag ako and all, I said, I'm not gonna miss this chance for us to have this conversation. I hope nakikita ng tao saan galing itong passion natin dalawa. No? Hindi kami nagdadaldal dito ng 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours dahil lang gusto lang namin magdaldal. No, we really feel a sense of urgency, both internationally, because I think there's a lot of opportunity, but there's also a lot of risk here, but also domestically, because we think a lot of things that should have been done na common sense, hindi nagawa. And of course, Ronald, you and I are aficionados of German politics, and you know how organized they are in Germany.
Yes,
They
yes.
will fight. I mean, the day na dumating ako sa hotel ko, so I stayed in sa Adlon, near the Brandenburg. So it's just next to the Russian embassy. Ang haba ng pila next to that. I thought like Taylor Swift concert. And someone said, no, that's a protest to disrupt the elections of Russia. And Navalny, the wife of Navalny, was actually
Is
there.
there? No?
There, a few hours just before I came, I saw her
Yeah.
picture because I follow her on Twitter. Oh, etong linya to. Kasi I went around. So, like, they constantly fight and contest for things. Kasi sa Germany, especially the progressives and all, they don't take anything for granted. They had to fight against Nazis. Now they have to fight against, I don't know, Alternative for Deutschland. They have to fight against all sorts of crazy stuff. So they never said, oh, tapos na, nagawa na namin, Berlin Wall came down, happy, let's go. No, they were never like that. Every year, every month, they fight for it. And I was just hoping, sana we have a little bit of that, German dedication. And the reason I say that is, I'm surprised, and you correct me if I'm wrong, Ronald. My sense is Pinoy was an aficionado also of German politics. I was telling some of my German friends, I said, actually, Merkel, I think medyo ina-idol ni Aquino si Merkel. I mean, I love Bismarck. I mean, Bismarck is my idea of the ultimate authoritarian. Like Lee Kuan Yew is just like a baby of Bismarck, right? So, I don't know. I mean, siguro, it's easy to dismiss you and me of expecting too much. Pero hindi ko naman sinabing mag-Germany tayo ng 10 out of 10 because the circumstances are different. Pero paano at least yung kalahatan ng mobilization, yung the way they're fighting for their democracy, they never take their democracy for granted. That's why I appreciate about Germans. Sorry, more than Americans or some of the other people, right? Yeah.
At bago tayo magtapos, gusto ko lang i-clarify na hindi lang kami dito passionate ni Richard. Meron pa mga ibang bagay na passionate din kami.
Thank you very much, Sir Ronald. God
Salamat.
bless.
Anytime.
And hopefully catch up soon, and let's organize more in person also for summer naman sana. Medyo malamig-lamig. Pili tayo ng Tagaytay or Baguio kasi mainit.
Sige, huwag kang magpapapako sa cruise sa Easter.
Sige lang. God bless and talk to you soon.
Nagustuhan niyo ba ang ganitong pagtalakay? Mag-follow sa Informador FB page at mag-subscribe sa Informador YouTube channel. Ang Informador ay nilikha ng mga staff ni Atty. Ricky Tumutorgo, aka Insurrecto, upang lalong lumawak ang inaabot ng pagpapalaganap ng katotohanan at labanan ang fake news at kasinungalingan.